Hello, Dalton First Faith family. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching a video. This fall, we've been trying to create a few videos, and those videos are meant to engage and to educate you about some of the initiatives going on our campus and things that are happening at our church. I want to introduce you to a leader that I trust you really already know. This is Kelly Kuhn. She's a person who is just instrumental in helping our school system with finances, but thankfully, she's very instrumental at helping us deal with finances in an excellent way, be good stewards of all that God has blessed us with. Well, today is a finance video, and Kelly's going to be sharing a little bit about where we are in our financial world as a church. But before we do that, I think it's sometimes better just to start with the heart of a leader, because Kelly loves Dalton First, and her family, she's got a beautiful family. Kelly, take a minute to tell us a little bit about your family and maybe how long you've been a part of the church and what you love about this church.
I would love to. Hello. My name's Kelly Kuhn, as Pastor Stephen said, and my husband's name is Jeff. I hope you've met Jeff or seen us here before. And we have three beautiful daughters of very different age ranges. So we have a very enthusiastic, joyful life, as you can imagine. Our oldest daughter, Connor, is a senior at Young Harris College. Our middle child, and she will tell you she's a middle child, Caroline, is a senior at Dalton High School this year, and our baby girl, Allie Claire, is a fourth grader. And I've been a member of this church for 25 years, and that was kind of shocking to think about when I was trying to figure out the dates. And we love our church. We feel welcome here. We feel spiritually nourished here, and really what has engaged us and launched us really into fast forward, if you will, of just activity and being engaged is serving, really getting out there and meeting people. And we do that through work with hospitality or ushering, really any kind of volunteer opportunity that we get, because I found that really has built relationships that I didn't have before. When you go to a large church, sometimes you kind of, you get in your routine, and you may not always cross paths with other people, so you kind of have to put yourself out there to cross paths, and so we really enjoy serving and building relationships.
I think one of my favorite things about what you just said is the we love to serve, because y'all really do all service, not just you and Jeff. And so anyway, you guys are very blessed, beautiful family. I like to think that one of the things that we really want to do well here at Dalton First is invest in strong and successful families. And so I'm so glad your family is a part of this church. Well, it's August. 2024 is flying by. We're more than over the halfway mark. I want to remind you of something we were doing about a year ago. It was July of 2023. I'd only been here a few months, and I asked Kelly and Patty Gover, our finance director, to do me a big favor. We had a town hall. You guys did an excellent job in talking about the finances in the middle of 2023. And our goal at that town hall was really two things. We wanted to be incredibly transparent about finances. And then secondly, we wanted to educate by trying to answer people's questions. We know that people have questions about church finances. So we're kind of doing that again today. Thank you for saying yes. This time on video, I know, not a town hall. But Kelly, I'm hoping that you will take a few minutes to talk to us about our budget for 2024, ministry budget, general budget, and then maybe talk to us about revenue and expenses. Tell us how we're doing thus far this year.
Sure. As Pastor Stephen referenced, Patty Gober is the finance director here at our church and is the boots on the ground for all things finance. And I'm privileged to lead the finance committee here at Dalton First. I have a great team of folks who really devote their time and prayer and are really engaged in the process. But going back to your original question, so we had to take a really hard look at 2023 and where we ended, and we did end in a deficit. So that really called on all the department heads to come together, when we're planning 2024, comb over what those expenses are, and take a hard look on what are the priorities and how do they align with the vision of our church. And so we were able to create a 2024 budget that had a 19% cut from 2023, and that's substantial, especially at a time when expenses are rising across the board. The staff and parish relations line in our budget, which is salaries and benefits, and that's typically your largest budget line item in any operating budget, we were able to cut that by 11%. And let me tell you, That is the work of the whole church being on board. You know, there's open positions in this church, and our current staff have really shouldered kind of redistributing, reallocating duties. So we have been able to cut back in that line item, and again, 11% is substantial. So let's go ahead and take a look at the budget currently. The image you're seeing is numbers as of July 31st. So we're looking at July 31st of 2023 and comparing that to 2024. So we're going to take a peek at revenue. Again, those blue boxes are the budgeted amount for both calendar years, and you can see that $300,000 cut that we made from 2023. Now, the orange bars there are revenue received to date as of July the 31st for both years, and we are under. So we have not brought in as much revenue current year as compared to 2023. Now, so what does that tell us? So we have a little gap we need to make up there. Revenue for our church operating budget, we do not get 12 nice equal installments of revenue. That's just the way it is in church revenue and church income. It's not like our home budgets where maybe we count on a salary every month.
Not nearly as tidy.
That's right. So it often can look this way. So we have a challenge in front of us to fill that gap, but we often see in the fourth quarter revenue pick up. And so we are very faithful and hopeful that we will pick up that revenue pace as we end the calendar year. Now, changing over to that the expenses for the budget. If I could pop the confetti can, I would. This is a great picture to show. In 2023, as of July 31st, our expenses were almost at $990,000. In current year, we're at $875,000. So that shows you the commitment and the hard work of the leadership team. Again, everyone knows from their home finances that all expenditures are on the rise right now, so that's a lot of hard work and something to be proud of. But we definitely have some challenge ahead of us in filling that revenue gap.
So I remember, Kelly, when we started this year, we cut that budget by $300,000. Still, we had a faith budget for 2024. But I call it tightening the belt. We knew we had to tighten up those expenses. I'm so thankful for so many different leaders and ministry areas in our church who've helped us to do just that. Now, one of the questions that a lot of folks have, I think, is probably about some of the renovations we've been doing on our campus. We've been moving adults into new spaces. We've created a new family ministries wing on the second floor. Would you describe a little bit of that to us? Would you tell us a little bit about that from a financial snapshot?
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to say personally, if you have not taken a look, if you have not walked outside that sanctuary and carried on down the second floor to see the renovations, they're amazing and super exciting, and clean spaces, and the security doors is a huge enhancement for our facility and for families and for folks coming in, maybe not super familiar with who we are when we help their children and teach children, but to have that security piece is huge for us. The adult Sunday school classes being renovated and relocated closer again to where the children's wing is. Faber Hall, as I like to say, we have prepared the nest for the future launch of our modern worship. So new lighting, new audio-visual equipment in there. It's super exciting. The signage, although it may be a small item in that renovation line, is huge, so folks know where to go.
That's right.
Serving on hospitality, oftentimes if we get someone in that is not familiar with our campus, you can't just say, well, drop your children off in the family ministries wing. We often had to escort them there. The signage is concise and clean and super exciting. But where did the funding come from? I know I have received questions about that.
Yeah.
So it did not come from the regular trustees operating line. That fund, that line item, covers utilities and mechanical failure and facility upgrades, the usual things in a budget. Thankfully, we have a line item in trustees reserve that we were able to accomplish these things for our church. They're renovations, of course, but really needed items to launch us forward, especially bringing in growth and new families and new members to our church. So thankfully, we were able to not use regular operating money. We have already had people say, hey, the renovations are amazing. I want to be a part of this. What can I do? If you take a look at all the new things going on and you feel inclined, as they did, call Patty. We would thankfully love to have some offset to those expenses, because there's other things we want to do, and we could just build that fund back up to where we can work on more modification and renovation to our campus.
Yeah. We owe a huge debt of gratitude to our trustees. They are hopeful that that fund will be restored, and so we do want to invite you to give towards that end. But this would be a perfect moment for us to say thank you to a few folks who really worked hard. I mean, we were able to cut so much cost in the renovations just because of the sweat equity that some people get. Mark Orr, if you see Mark, hug his neck and tell Mark thank you for the countless hours Mark was up here doing all kinds of work on those renovations. Doug Renz, so many of our trustees, and I shouldn't have started listing anybody. But anyway, we're very thankful for all of those people. Now, Kelly, one last thing I want you to lean into as you're trying to educate us on. This church historically has done something I think that's very important, and that is in the fall, they've carved out a moment for stewardship, 2, 3, 4 weeks, just to think about the ministry that's come. And so, for us, that's 2025. And you and your team, the finance team, have really helped this church prayerfully lean into commitments to underwrite the ministry for the year that is to come. So I think that's going to be in October. Would you tell us a little bit more about that? And we hope that you will engage here.
Absolutely. Stewardship Sunday is going to be October the 20th this year. And as Pastor Stephen said, as we approach those weeks, we just encourage you to be very intentful and prayerful about your financial contributions, gifts, presents, volunteerism, all those things that are so key and important and vital to our church. The Finance Committee is already beginning to prepare. We're in 2024. We're thinking really hard about 2025. We want to continue this energy and this momentum, all the exciting things that we know are coming to our church. So we ask you to really pray with us and prepare your hearts and minds for October the 20th.
Yeah. If I could close with a few final kind of pastoral thoughts. The first thing I would share with you is that we believe God has great things in store for this church. That word that Kelly just used, the word momentum, we feel that in this place. And I would say, you ain't seen nothing yet. You have not seen all that God's going to do, even in 2025. We believe that God has some incredible things in store. So secondly, I would say it's fall. And fall is always a busy season. Kids go back to school. The world around us starts to change. But what I would say to you is do not miss this season of growth and engagement. We've got a lot going on. Wonderful Wednesdays is about the launch back, and that's ministry for the whole family. We're going to be doing a food collection for City of Refuge. We're going to be boots on the ground at Providence Ministries. I'm starting a brand new sermon series that I'm really stoked about. We'll turn around and we'll get to the end of October. It's going to be Trunk or Treat for Hunger, a moment where we invite the whole community onto our campus. We raise canned goods. We feed those who have less than us. Do not miss this moment, this season, to engage and to grow, and to invite somebody to be a part of the good work that God is doing in this place. Well, as we close today, I want to just say a word of gratitude. We know your time was important. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes, and I hope that you're going to be praying and engaging into the body life of this church. We are for you. God loves you. See you Sunday.